Greetings, fellow interloper. It's your buddy Taylor here, back with another video hot out of the oven. Since my last couple videos have been for newer players, I thought I'd tip my hat to those who have unlocked most, if not all, the recipes in the game, so we can roll up our sleeves and make some serious cash. All while paying tribute to the forgotten device that, for some reason, always seems to take a back seat to their big sister.
Marsha!
This, my friends, is Whiskey Barrel Gaming. Well, the title pretty much says it all, yeah? Whenever I see content about high-priced items to sell in the No Man's Sky universe, it's always about the stasis device. I mean, for good reason, obviously. Just one stasis device sells for 15.6 million units. Not bad at all. But today, I'm going to show a little love to the other forgotten craftable item in the game that also sells for 15.6 million, the fusion igniter. The two devices are pretty much mirror images of one another, and actually have one component in common, the quantum processor. We'll get to that in a second. To be honest, there's really no clear-cut advantage to building one over the other. It kind of depends on what you have to start with. It's safe to assume, though, that once you've built one or two of one particular kind and you get the hang of it, you don't really find yourself wanting to learn how to build the other. They both will net you serious money with the right workflow. The fusion igniter can look intimidating when you see what goes into it, but I've always found it helpful to break it down into a crafting tree. So let's take a look at a high-level view of the igniter. You'll only need 3 things to put this igniter together. Piece of cake, right? Well, those 3 things have their own crafting trees and will take some time to craft themselves. But the bright side is, if you're running freighter missions, they can yield many of the lower tier items, which allow you to skip many of these steps. At the end of the day, it's helpful to know how to build both. If you're like me, when your expeditions bring back higher end components, I actually store them and save them for future high-level crafting such as this. Alright, I'm assuming you've made it this far. You're familiar with crafting versus refining. Everything we'll be doing here will be crafting, meaning we won't need to break out the refiner. While various things like plants and gases can be obtained through refining, I'll only be focusing on crafting here. If you want to pause the video right here, this is everything you'll need to put a fusion igniter together. I've included the 5 key ingredients that will allow us to craft the premium alloys that make up the geodesite. But if you've already accumulated dirty bronze, herox, or lemium, well, you're already a step ahead. I find I get a lot of these from freighter missions as well as pirates who try to hijack me and end up giving me their stuff. A lot of times it seems to be either dirty bronze or herox, which is nice. Or if you're like me, you can stockpile geodesite and save it for when we need to do this. Okay, let's take a look at component number 1, the portable reactor. We'll start at the base of the tree and work our way up. First up, we're going to craft the very first component you unlocked, acid. For acid, you'll need fungal clusters and mordite. We'll also need unstable gel made from cactus flesh. If you watched my last noob tube video, you know that besides gathering, you can actually refine these as well. Something to keep in mind. I'll throw a link up to that video if you're curious. Now that we have our acid and unstable gel, we'll join the two to make liquid explosive. Easy peasy. Next up, we'll put our condensed carbon to work and craft nitrogen salt, thermic condensate, and enriched carbon. For nitrogen salt, we'll need 250 nitrogen and 50 condensed carbon. While we only need 1 right now, we're actually going to craft 2. You'll see why in a second. For thermic condensate, we'll need 250 sulfurine and 50 condensed carbon. We're also going to craft an extra one. Lastly, for enriched carbon, we'll need 250 radon and 50 condensed carbon. And yes, you guessed it, we're going to craft an extra one, even though we only need 1 right now. Now that we have the thermic condensate and the enriched carbon put together, these two will make up the organic catalyst, or as I like to call it, the little wonton. Always makes me hungry. We'll then use our organic catalyst to combine that with nitrogen salt for our fusion accelerant. Now that we have our liquid explosive and newly created fusion accelerant, this will make our portable reactor. Nice! We're a third of the way there. Next up, we'll craft our quantum processor, and just like previously, we'll start at the bottom of the crafting tree and work our way up. When I say quantum processor, it's actually more fun to use a Australian accent. We're gonna make a quantum processor. Go ahead, try it, it's fun. No? Okay, let's move on.
Oh, that's a joke.
To start, we'll craft a heat capacitor using 100 frost crystal and 200 selenium. We'll then craft polyfiber using 100 cactus flesh and 200 star bulb. Now that we have the heat capacitor and polyfiber assembled, we'll make a circuit board. Up next, we'll craft a semiconductor. Because we crafted an extra batch of thermic condensate, as well as nitrogen salt, making a semiconductor is pretty much done. And because we crafted an extra enriched carbon, we can join this with our semiconductor and produce a superconductor. Now that we have a circuit board and superconductor, together they will allow us to produce our quantum processor. Sorry. Are we having fun yet? Now the only thing left to craft is our geodesite, or geodesite. Am I even saying this right? Geodesite. Okay, we're gonna go with geodesite. For this, we'll need to craft dirty bronze, herox, and lemium. You may already have these, but just to be thorough, we'll go through each one. For dirty bronze, you'll need 50 pyrite and 100 pure ferrite. For herox, you'll need 50 ammonia and 50 ionized cobalt. And for lemium, you'll need 50 uranium and 100 pure ferrite. So to review, we've crafted a portable reactor, a quantum processor, and geodesite, the 3 building blocks to the fusion igniter. Congratulations, you're 1 galactic trade terminal away from making 15.6 million units. If you're still with me, I'll add a little bonus for you all. Much like my previous video about refining to make plants you need in crafting, you can do the same with gases. For nitrogen, you can refine radon at a ratio of 3:1. If you add oxygen to this, you can refine it at a 1:1. If you're looking to obtain radon, you can refine sulfurine at a 3:1. Again, if you add oxygen, you can refine at a 1:1. And for sulfurine, you can refine nitrogen at a ratio of 3:1, and yes, surprise, surprise, if you add oxygen, you can stretch it out to 1:1. In many of these formulas, if you're low on oxygen to stretch out your inputs, try using chromatic metal with the input gas to achieve a 1:1 ratio instead of using oxygen. If you found this video not only useful but entertaining, because I do believe it's important to have both, please show your support and subscribe to the channel. Every subscription means a lot and gets me one step closer to my goal of continued production of these fun No Man's Sky guides. Icing on the cake would be liking as well as commenting. These things not only help introduce my channel to people who have no idea I exist, they also provide a huge boost mentally from a guy who just decided to start a channel up 3 weeks ago based on a game he loves playing. Thank you all so much for the support I've received up to this point. It really does mean a lot. This is Taylor with Whiskey Barrel Gaming, signing off.